So, as you guys all probably know, crypto is a pretty crazy place. I don't think I have to convince anybody of that, right? But every now and then arise some very good opportunities as well to get into cryptos before they launch, which I've described as one of the most profitable ways to make money in crypto. And there's a project I'm looking into right now that's launching tomorrow that you should at least give a look. Even if you're skipping out on this, I'll be explaining some stuff and some reasonings as to why I'm buying in. But overall, you'll see as the video goes on. So make sure you press that like button and let's dive right in. So the project is called Sugar Kingdom Odyssey. And honestly, there are many different projects I buy into nearly every single day, but I'll try to kind of guide you guys through what I'm seeing in these things, what makes me excited, but also on another end, just what's going on. So generally speaking here, Sugar Kingdom Odyssey, a gaming platform for BRC20 tokens and altcoins. Straight out the bat, it kind of hits the spot on multiple different fronts. And to a certain extent, I'm always a little sucker for buzzwords because that's generally speaking what people notice. So gaming, I think, is going to be one of the most exciting sectors in crypto over the next couple of months. BRC20 obviously has been really, really hot quite recently. And just taking a look here, gaming obviously is an area which I'm very much getting into, even though the prices are down a little bit today. Overall, if we look back at this in a few months, I think we'll be up a ton because people understand gaming so nicely. It's just so convenient. It's so easy. But right now, a couple of sectors are really up and coming. I'd say the base ecosystem is really, really hot. Memes obviously are really, really hot, and RWA and DeepIn. But one area that's been getting mediocre attraction, so relatively good, but could still be better, which potentially is going to go pretty wild after the halving, is the whole BRC20 ordinals ecosystem. And I personally think that a lot of companies that are using it as a buzzword are still a little bit early, because if we look through this list, a lot of projects in this list here are kind of whack. They're not too amazing just quite yet. But if we, fast forward 1 year into the future, this list will be full of some very, very serious companies. But the point being, there's a lot of growth here still. Anyway, so these guys are launching their project tomorrow. Unfortunately, there's a couple of projects actually launching tomorrow, so it's a little bit of a competition, which is almost never really nice. But take a look at this, right? SKO launches tomorrow, the 2nd of April, 2 UTC. There's a special event limited to 24 hours during our launch. Buy or stake whatever amount of SKO to get whatever. Sometimes it can be nice to actually try this, because if you get free mystery boxes, sometimes the mystery box itself, we've seen it happen before, is worth more than whatever you paid for instantly. And then you obviously also get the tokens. But more particularly, they've been working with a couple of parties that I really know, or I should say know and love. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And they're followed by a lot of the guys I know. That's always a good sign as well. So to get back to it, how do you usually get into all these sales before they even happen? If you scroll through their Twitter, you might notice they have a lot of announcements from all these launch pads. And so how that works is, generally speaking, if you're involved with a launch pad and you potentially have their token, or some of these launch pads don't even have a token yet, so it's just you being involved in sometimes sort of a lottery type of system, but you can potentially be able to buy the token before the general public is able to do that. Very often, though, it is at a very, very favorable price to where it goes to over the next couple of hours as they launch. And so this is something that I always encourage people to get into, or at least read into, because, well, that's a lot of my business, a lot of what I do, and it's very, very successful. And just scrolling through here, there's a lot of different places that this was sold on, but I like the fact that it didn't go for a straight up raise, but they went with launch pads, because generally speaking, it means people have to try a little bit harder to actually get in, instead of just everybody flock to the website and buying. And usually the results in terms of multiplier are then also better. But more importantly, they're just working with all different companies that I also either invested in or work with sometimes, which was pretty surprising, because a while back, right, usually with these projects, I hear about them so much before, but all of a sudden Sugar Kingdoms got a lot of excitement in a really, really short amount of time. And so I was kind of like late to the party here as well, being able to update you guys because of how quick a lot of this stuff has gone. But they're working with so many companies that I'm really, really bullish on. Anyway, but reading over on CoinMarketCap, Sugar Kingdom, right, is a Web3 gaming platform designed to provide utility to every BRC20 token and altcoin. Anyway, but looking at the team, I wouldn't call this an SSS tier or whatever, because a lot of the key names you'd like to see are missing, like for example Coinbase or something. Because again, this is a little lesson to people. You always look at the cap table when trying to invest in things, but you don't make it your deciding factor. And the reason I say this is because many of the projects that I invested into that didn't have any of the major names on board were also raising significantly less money, or were more of a community project, and ended up with way better results than things that had a guaranteed do well type of venture, like Coinbase Ventures or Binance Labs very often, because those guys obviously want to step in with size. And similarly with Solana Ventures, people sometimes think, oh, because the big names are on board, it must do well. No, because very often they are at a really, really high valuation than from the start. Anyway, getting back to it, my personal thoughts are, if they handle the marketing well with the niche that they're in, BRC/gaming, it could be one of the first to do it. It could do or end up doing really, really well. They had so many launch pads on board, which has two sides. On the one hand, that's a lot of selling pressure because a lot of these guys are very new. They don't understand the long-term vision. They just want to cash out quick. But on the opposite side, it's also, like I just said, a very community-driven project. And especially in the BRC ecosystem, that might be something that's necessary. And with a lot of the partners that they've got, a lot of those guys being able to go on board the platform, since that's kind of their goal, right? Could also be really interesting. But anyway, I'm investing into it. I personally think it's a very interesting one. And I'm looking for many more of these projects every single day. And if you guys find them, you can always send them over, you know? Some people actually do. And I do always take a look. Because honestly, I think if they're in the gaming sector or the BRC sector, they're always worth a little look, especially if they're on a lot of these popular launch pads, because it means they've done something right. It's not that easy to get on all these different launch pads, just so you guys know. And like I just said, a lot of my friends are also investing or involved, so, well, I'm happy to see them do well. I think it's going to do well. I'm excited to see it at least. It's the first of its sort, at least as far as I know, so it could be a banger, could also be a mediocre one, but I think there's almost no chance this does bad. And again, not your financial advisor. The only question I have is, how heavy should I be going on mystery boxes at the start? Because sometimes that's the best decision you can make, and sometimes it's just like break even or okay. I guess it also kind of depends on what you get out of the mystery box. But yeah, tomorrow I believe launching on MEXC, and obviously the launch pads are releasing the tokens and I guess some decentralized exchanges as well. But yeah, interesting launch happening tomorrow. Check it out. Don't forget it. And we'll see from here. This one as well. We'll be taking a look at a couple more. But even if the launch doesn't do really well, I think over time it could have some very, very nice properties. But yeah, that's about it.